Solving equations. So let's do a quick review of our 3 basic rules or principles we follow when we're solving an equation. Number 1, remember your main goal is to always get the variable by itself on one side of the equation. An equation is like a balance scale. You can do anything you want as long as you do it to both sides of the equal signs. And remember your opposite operations, addition and subtraction undo each other, multiplication and division undo each other. Two-step equations. And you can see on these two-step equations, look at this first one right here. We have the problem 2m plus 8 equals 32. Now when you have this two-step equation, I've got to look again and see what's attached to my m. I've got times 2 and plus 8. Okay? Now your general rule is always going to be to get rid of your addition and your subtraction first. Because if I tried to get rid of my multiplication first, I'd have to divide everything on both sides by 2, meaning I'd have to divide the 2m by 2, I'd have to divide the 8 by 2, and then the 32 by 2. So it's just really easier to always get rid of the addition and the subtraction first. If the y doesn't make sense to you, just remember, get rid of the addition or subtraction first. So if I want to get rid of the plus 8, what's going to get rid of that? I'm going to subtract 8. And remember, I have to see all of your steps or you're not going to get credit. So 2m plus 8 minus 8, those are going to cancel each other out, leaving me with just 2m. And then I've got 32 minus 8, and that's going to be what? 24. Divide, I'll get the m by itself. What's going to get rid of the times 2? Divide by 2. If I divide one side by 2, I've got to divide the other side by 2. So I get m is equal to 12. Okay? Just like before, yes, you have to check your work. Is 2 times 12 plus 8 really equal to 32? Well, that's what? Going to be 24 plus 8. Does that equal 32? Well, 24 plus 8 is 32, so 32 equals 32. So yes, it checked. Okay, so just remember on these two-step equations to get rid of the addition and the subtraction first. Remember, I've got to see every step and to check your work. No excuse to miss one of these on a test or a quiz, because you can know if you got it right or not before you ever turn in the paper. Okay, here's another one. 5b plus 4 equals 79. Again, get rid of my addition and subtraction first. Attached to my b, I've got a times 5 and a plus 4. So I'm going to get rid of the adding 4 first. So what gets rid of adding 4? Subtracting 4. And I got to do it to both sides. Those are canceling each other out, leaving me with 5b equals 79 minus 4 is 75. I can divide both sides by 5 because I want to get rid of the times 5. And to do that, I'm going to divide by 5. Those cancel each other out, leaving me with a b equals 75 divided by 5. Goes in there one time. It's going to be 15. So b is equal to 15, and in this case, that is choice C. Okay? Pretty easy. Not much harder than what we've been doing. All right, look at this one. W over 4 plus 6 equals 9. Again, I want to get the W by itself. What's attached to it? Dividing by 4 and adding 6. Okay? Said to get rid of the addition and subtraction first. So what am I going to do? What's going to get rid of adding 6? I'm going to subtract 6. Okay? Those cancel out. I've got W over 4 equals, what's 9 minus 6? 3. Now what's going to get rid of dividing by 4? I'm going to multiply by 4. So those cancel out, leaving me with W is equal to 12. I need to check my work. Plug that back in. 12 divided by 4 plus 6, does that equal 9? Well, 12 divided by 4 is 3. and 3 plus 6 does equal 9. So I know that my problem has checked and I have worked it correctly. Okay? All right, here's another example. You pause the video, work this one, and then come back and check your work. All right, I have n over 6 plus 2 equals 3. All right, I want what's attached to my n? Dividing by 6 and adding 2. Get rid of my addition and subtraction first, so what am I going to do? To get rid of adding 2, I'm going to subtract 2. Those cancel out, leaving me n over 6 equals 3 minus 2 is 1. What's going to get rid of dividing by 6? Multiplying by 6. So n is equal to 6. Check your work. Is 6 over 6 plus 2 really equal to 3? Well, 6 over 6 is 1. 1 plus 2 equals 3. So 3 is equal to 3. So yes, my work checks. Again, I've got to see every step plus your check. All right, no work, no credit on these. All right, look at this one. This is a little different. 5 minus x equals 7. I've got to get that x by itself. All right, but what am I going to do? What do I do with that 5? Well, how am I going to get rid of that 5 that's in front of that x? Is that like a plus 5 or a minus 5? What do you do? Well, if it's 5, it's just really, if you wanted to, if it helps you to see this on this first one, we'll just write it like this. I could write that as 0 plus 5, right? Okay, so really what have I got to do to get rid of that? I've got to subtract 5. All right, I'm going to go ahead and erase that 0 so that it doesn't confuse you later. But just so you would see, what do I have to do to get rid of that? I've got to subtract 5 from both sides. Now, those are canceling each other out. But what am I left with? That minus x is really like a what? Negative x. Remember, if you wanted to, you could write that as plus a negative. Okay, or just remember when you see that anything behind the minus sign is really what? Negative. So negative x is equal to 7 minus 5 is 2. Now, do I want to know what negative x is equal to? No, I want to know what x is equal to. And what's my coefficient there on that x? My number in front of it. Remember, if there's nothing there, it's like an understood 1. So it's really like negative 1 times x. What can I do to get the x by itself? I can divide both sides by a negative 1. Those negative 1s cancel each other out, just leaving me with a positive x. And 2 divided by negative 1 is a negative 2. Come back up here to your original problem and plug it in. Is 5 minus a negative 2 equal to 7? Well, that really becomes 5 plus 2 equal to 7, and 7 does equal to 7, so yes, it checked. Just be careful when you have those minus signs and realize everything behind it becomes a negative. And remember on your coefficients, if there's not one there, it's an understood 1. Okay, here's another one of those. You work this problem and then come back and check your answer against mine. All right, so here we go. 9 is equal to negative 4 minus m. All right, I want to get the m by itself. What can I do? I've got to get rid of negative 4. What's going to get rid of negative 4? Well, adding a positive 4, right? Isn't negative 4 plus positive 4 just going to be 0? So I can add 4 to both sides. Those are going to cancel each other out. 9 plus 4 equals 13. And what am I really left with over here? Minus m is really going to be what? A negative m. Do I want to know what negative m is equal to? No. So again, remember that's like a negative 1, understood 1 there. So I can divide both sides by a negative 1. I get negative 13 is equal to m, or choice D, negative 13. Okay? All right, look at this one. b minus 3b plus 8 equals 18. Now on this one, what have I got to do? Well, I've got some like terms right here, don't I? I need to combine those like terms before I do anything else. So if you want to, if it helps you, think of that as plus and negative. What is b? Again, that's an understood 1, right? What is 1b plus a negative 3b? A negative 2b plus 8 equals 18. Now it's just like what we've been doing the whole rest of this lesson. What's attached to my b? A times negative 2 and a plus 8. Well, what's going to get rid of the plus 8? Let's subtract 8 from both sides. Those cancel out, giving me a negative 2b equals 18 minus 8 is 10. Want to get the b by itself, what's going to get rid of multiplying by a negative 2? Divide by a negative 2. Those cancel each other out, and I'm left with b is equal to 10 divided by negative 2 is negative 5. Again, come back to your original problem and check it. Is negative 5 minus 3 times negative 5 plus 8 equal to 18? Well, that's really negative 5 minus 3 times negative 5 is negative 15 plus 8 equals 18. Well, minus negative 15 really becomes plus a positive 15, and negative 5 plus a positive 15 is 10, and 10 plus 8 does equal 18, so it checks, and I have worked the problem correctly. Okay? All right, that was our last one for tonight. So just, again, going back like we've done in every one of these, it goes back to making sure that you are comfortable using these three things that I've given you. Get the variable by itself. Whatever you do to one side of the equation, do to the other. And remember your opposite operations. Okay? Good night, and I'll see you tomorrow.